Hi folks, despite the events in the world today, I hope you're all individually doing well. I was planning, well I've been planning for a while to do a finds video. Everything's building up, but just a few minutes ago I was watching James Griffiths' latest video on classic Twofers, and I thought I've got quite a few of those, so I thought I'd do a response to James's video. There's quite a few to show, so let's get on with it. Now the first one, I won't be showing any of the ones that James showed that I've got, like the Floyd, Kevin Ayers, the Move, and Robert Wyatt. But as James started off with the Floyd, which he quite rightly said is a twofer but isn't what is classically known as a twofer, I'm going to start in the same way with this album by the Allman Brothers, Beginnings. And this is their first two albums put out as a double. First one just called the Allman Brothers Band, and the second one, Idle Wild South. First album has great tracks like It's Not My Cross to Bear and Whipping Post on it. Second has got Midnight Rider and In Memory of Elizabeth Reed. Great southern rock. Next up, two of my favourite albums, and this is Tangerine Dream with their second and fourth albums, Alpha Centauri and Artem. This is the cover for Alpha Centauri, even though it does say Artem as well, and that's the cover for Artem. And this is the period when they were still using conventional instruments. They hadn't gone all synth yet, but these two albums are brilliant. They were split by the superb ambient classic site, which came between these two. But these were originally on the All label, I think, but this is a Virgin reissue. Next up, the two classic albums, and we have The Byrds with Sweetheart of the Rodeo and the Notorious Byrd Brothers. And you get the two individual albums. Sweetheart of the Rodeo was my introduction really to, country rock, and Notorious Byrd Brothers is my favourite Byrds album by far. You've got great tracks on here on Sweetheart, like You Ain't Going Nowhere, You Don't Miss Your Water, Hickory Wind, Nothing Was Delivered, and on Notorious Byrd Brothers, Going Back, Wasn't Born to Follow, Changes Now, Dolphin Smile. Two superb albums. Next up, a true classic twofer. This is Procol Harum with their first album, A Whiter Shade of Pale, and you flip it over and you have their second album, was it? Salty Dog? Was it the third? Can't remember now. So you get absolutely brilliant albums, particularly Salty Dog, which has got the title track, Devil Came from Kansas, The Wreck of the Hesperus, Pilgrim's Progress. Superb. Another one that's not a true twofer, but does incorporate the band's first two albums, and that is Soft Machine's Architects of Space Time, which incorporates Soft Machine 1 and 2. This is the Softs' more psych period rather than the sort of jazz fusion band they became. two great albums. First one's the lineup with Mike Ratledge, Kevin Ayers and Robert Wyatt, and the second one, Kevin Ayers is replaced by the great Hugh Hopper. That's Softs 1 and 2, Architects of Space-Time. So this is a bit of a weird one, and it's the Flaming Groovies. Now it says the album's called Teenage Head. This is a double album and incorporates their 1970 album Flamingo along with their 1971 album Teenage Head. Why it doesn't mention Flamingo anywhere on here, I don't know. Not even on the liner notes, I don't think. But great rocking stuff. Excuse me. Next we have the Jefferson Airplane, and we have their first album, Jefferson Airplane Takes Off. This is obviously the lineup with Signe Anderson rather than Grace Slick on vocals, and it's matched up a bit incongruously with Blessed's Pointed Little Head, the live album from later in their career. A great live album. That's Jefferson Airplane. Now I've got a few in this series, and that's two originals of Iron Butterfly. And these are the albums Ball and Metamorphosis. Ball was from 1969, Metamorphosis from 1970. Then you get the covers. Moving on. And another one with the first two albums by the band, and this is Man Twice with their first two albums. Oops, excuse me. Great picture of the band inside. Both these albums were released in 1969. The first one was on Pi and was called Revelation, and the second one on Dawn, I think it was originally released, went under the great descriptive title of 2 ounces of plastic with a hole in the middle. But again, two excellent albums. Next we go to Mr. Hendrix, and we have obviously the Jimi Hendrix Experience with their first two albums, Are You Experienced and Axis Bold as Love. On the Polydor label, there's the trio. You don't need to say anything about what's on these two. Everybody should have these two in their collection. Superb. And obviously couldn't get by without having a bit of the good old Dead in here. I've got this twofer, which is Wake of the Flood and From the Mars Hotel. There you go. Two of their mid-period albums. Wake of the Flood's got Mississippi Half Step, Uptown Toodaloo, beautiful Stellar Blue on it, Eyes of the World, and a Weather Report Suite. And From the Mars Hotel has great songs like Scarlet Begonias, Ship of Fools, one of my favourites, US Blues, and China Doll. Again, ones everybody should have in their collection. Then we go to a bit of British blues and Mr. Mayall with his album Empty Rooms, backed with his album The Turning Point. Okay, get the inner backs of the original albums, I think. Excellent. The Empty Rooms one was with the lineup of Johnny Allman, John Mark, Steve Thompson and Larry Taylor, while the Turning Point had John Mark again, Steve Thompson and Johnny Allman again on sax. Two really good albums, these two. On to a bit of early folk rock, and we get the first two Strobes albums. This is a French release, just called Early Strobes, and obviously is again their first two albums. Was the first one just called Strobes, and the second Dragonfly. Or the other way around, I can't remember. Sorry, my memory. This is some excellent stuff on here, particularly tracks like Where Is This Dream of Your Youth, and the Vision of the Lady of the Lake, and The Battle. Excellent. James showed a twofer by Tyrannosaurus Rex, and they had another one which was the T-Rex album that he mentioned, which is I think their first fully electric one, backed with Bowl and Boogie, which I think is more of a sort of compilation album. Yeah, Bowl and Boogie's got Get It On, Ride a White Swan, Jeepster. What love on it. Well, that's T-Rex. So I'm whizzing through these. Penultimate one, and we have The Mothers of Invention with another one of these two originals of Twofers. Don't know what that cover has to do with anything, but there you go. Oh. And this includes their two fantastic albums, Burnt Weenie Sandwich and Weasels Ripped My Flesh, two of my favourites of theirs. This is Burnt Weenie Sandwich has got the 22-minute Little House I Used to Live In. Weasels has got My Guitar Wants to Kill Your Mama, and the Dwarf Nebula Processional March and Dwarf Nebula, and Prelude to the Afternoon of a Sexually Aroused Gas Mask. It could only be Zappa. Excellent. And finally, one that's, I don't know whether this counts. James will have to adjudicate on this. This is another French release, Festival Pop Celtique avec JSD Band et Planxty. And this is actually a twofer of the first two albums of the wonderful Irish band Planxty and the superb, I think Scottish JSD Band, more electric folk rock band. Superb. Does give me a problem though. I never know where to place it in my collection. Should it go under the JSD Band or should it go under Planxty? Currently it's sitting under Planxty for no particular reason. So there you go. Sorry I've rushed through those, not said a lot about anything about them, but I was quite intrigued to follow up on James's video and see which ones I'd got. I think that's it. I don't think I've missed any. Anyway, thank you, James, for starting that one off. I hope everybody's doing well, and hopefully I'll get round to doing a finds video or 2 or 3 in the near future. Hope everybody has a good weekend, and I hope to see you soon. Bye.